When you think of Morocco, your mind likely conjures up images of, vibrant souks, delicious tagines, fragrant mint tea. But what if I told you there's this this rapidly emerging historic wine culture bubbling just beneath that surface? We're setting the stage today for a deep dive into Morocco as an unexpected luxury wine tourism destination. It's really a fascinating place where ancient history meets modern winemaking and, frankly, opulent hospitality. And it's all set against these incredible landscapes. You've got the cooling Atlantic Ocean breezes, the majestic Atlas Mountains, offering truly exceptional terroirs, which, for anyone unfamiliar, terroir basically means the whole natural environment, the soil, the land, the climate, everything that affects the wine.
Exactly. And that's really our mission today, to uncover how Morocco uniquely weaves together this rich history, its incredible natural environments, and these luxurious experiences. Experiences designed for both, seasoned wine connoisseurs and just curious travelers. By the end of this, we're pretty confident Morocco will emerge as a really unforgettable option for your next enological adventure, which is just a fancy way of saying a wine-focused journey.
Okay, so let's peel back the layers on Morocco's wine story, because its roots go much, much further back than most people realize. We're talking ancient origins.
Indeed. What's truly fascinating here is that viticulture, so grape growing, was introduced to the Amazigh people way back. As early as the 6th century BCE, Phoenician traders brought it. Grapevines really took root around their trading posts, places like Lixus and Mogador, and importantly, near the ancient city of Volubilis.
That's incredible. So I'm curious, did any of this ancient Moroccan wine actually make its way onto Roman tables, or was it mainly local?
Oh, absolutely it did. Under Roman rule, Volubilis became this thriving agricultural center. They cultivated grapes that were pressed and shipped right across the Mediterranean. We found archaeological evidence of wine presses, amphorae, testifying to this pretty well-established winemaking tradition. There are even modern wines like Volubilis Gris that intentionally pay homage to this 2,000-year legacy.
Wow. Okay, but then, thinking historically, the Islamic conquest in the 7th century, you'd assume that would halt wine production entirely, right? Was that the case?
That's a crucial question, and the picture is, well, it's more nuanced than just complete extinction. While Islamic law did theoretically prohibit alcohol, winemaking largely vanished from public view. But grapes were still grown for things like table fruit, raisins, non-alcoholic uses. And crucially, some limited production survived among non-Muslim communities. Jewish communities, for example, kept traditions for spirits like mahia, and later Christian Europeans in the port cities. So for over 1,000 years, it was this very discreet, kind of marginal affair, just existing quietly in the background.
Right, existing but not exactly thriving. So after centuries of this sort of quiet activity, what really propelled Moroccan wine into the modern era?
Well, that historical backdrop brings us to a really pivotal moment.
Right.
The French Protectorate, established in 1912. That event truly germinated Morocco's modern wine industry. You had French settlers arriving, seeing Morocco's fertile valleys, the temperate highlands. They saw it as ideal, especially after phylloxera, that devastating insect blight had ravaged vineyards back in Europe, so they planted vast new estates in Morocco.
Okay, and I've definitely read about this period, accounts mentioning medicine wines or doctor wines. Can you unpack that a bit? What was that about?
Yeah, so by the 1930s, Morocco was just churning out huge quantities of basically ordinary wine.
Yeah.
Mostly robust reds from high-yield grapes like Carignan and Cinsault, not exactly fine wine. And this stuff was destined for bulk export, mainly to France, where, yes, they were known as medicine wines, because they were blended into thinner French vintages to add body color, basically to fortify them. Get this, by the 1950s, Morocco had an incredible 55,000 hectares of vineyards. That's about, 136,000 acres? It rivaled major European regions, and Morocco became one of the world's largest wine exporting nations.
55,000 hectares. That's staggering. And they even set up formal classifications like AOG and AOC back then, mimicking the French system. Those are the quality and origin labels, similar to France's geographic indications.
Exactly, they did. Appellation d'origine garantie, Appellation d'origine contrôlée, established in the 30s.
But then independence hit in 56, and the whole landscape shifted dramatically.
It really did. After 1956, many of the French owners left, and the Moroccan state initially took a pretty ambivalent stance. They were focused on asserting the country's Islamic identity. But the real critical turning point, the big shock, came in 1967. That's when the European Economic Community, the EEC, imposed strict quotas. They banned blending non-block wines with European ones.
So almost overnight, Morocco lost its main market, just gone, leading to this massive crisis, right? Was the decline as complete as it sounds, or did anything survive?
The immediate impact was devastating. By the early 1970s, the state nationalized the whole sector through an entity called Sodia. But central planning, lack of investment, just led to a really sharp decline. Production absolutely plummeted from millions of hectoliters annually, that's hundreds of millions of bottles, down to just a few hundred thousand. By 1990, only about 13,000 hectares of vines were left, many old, struggling. It had truly, as one expert put it, taken a step or three backwards.
Wow, that sounds incredibly dire. But even in the middle of that decline, was there anyone, a pioneer maybe, who still believed in Moroccan wine's potential?
Yes, thankfully there was a glimmer of hope. A really visionary vintner named Brahim Sneber. He started quietly acquiring abandoned vineyards back in the 1960s in the Meknès region, just replanting, experimenting, always believing in a future revival, even during the worst of it. His perseverance turned out to be absolutely pivotal later on.
That brings us to a really unique aspect of Morocco's wine scene today. How does this balance work? You've got a Muslim-majority country that permits wine production, even promotes it abroad, but keeps things pretty low-key at home.
It's fascinating, isn't it? What you see is Morocco's very pragmatic and, well, tolerant approach. And this pragmatism, it isn't just a modern convenience. It actually reflects this historical thread of pluralism woven deep into Moroccan society. The state carefully balances its cultural identity with economic realities, especially with a flourishing tourism sector. So Moroccan law doesn't actually prohibit production or sale to non-Muslims, but officially it forbids sales to Muslim citizens. In practice, though, that rule is pretty lightly enforced. You can find alcohol in supermarkets, in upscale restaurants, usually discreetly displayed. And sales are curtailed during religious holidays, more out of respect than a strict ban.
Okay, so tourists, non-Muslims, they can buy wine easily enough. But what about locals? Is it actually enjoyed widely, or is it still quite niche?
Well, while many devout Muslims certainly abstain, there's actually a significant local clientele. Often urban, middle-class Moroccans who enjoy wine regularly, maybe in private settings or in these upscale establishments. In fact, most Moroccan wine is consumed domestically. It's not just for foreigners. Some surveys even suggest there's a growing non-religious segment among younger Moroccans. It's this really unique vinous coexistence. Morocco has actually become the second largest wine consumer in Africa, right after South Africa. That really speaks volumes about this delicate balance.
Wow, second largest in Africa. That's surprising. So this unique context sets the stage perfectly for the dramatic rebirth in the 1990s. How did that comeback actually happen?
Right. By the late 1980s, the industry was just, well, it was ripe for revival. King Hassan II, recognizing the economic potential in wine, initiated some crucial reforms in the early 1990s. The state-owned company, Sodia, began actively eliciting foreign investment and expertise. This policy shift, essentially a partial privatization, triggered a real influx of capital and, crucially, know-how.
And that's the point when major French players like Groupe Castel came onto the scene.
Correct. That was a big moment. In 1994, Groupe Castel, which is one of France's largest wine companies, invested heavily. They took over and replanted extensive estates. And get this, their Moroccan label, Boulouane, actually became the best-selling foreign wine in French supermarkets for a while, a remarkable turnaround. Other firms followed suit, bringing significant improvements in viticulture, grape growing, and entomology, the winemaking techniques.
So this time around, it was clearly about quality, not just pumping out huge quantities like before.
Precisely. That was the major shift. A really significant milestone came in 2001. That was when Morocco established its first proper appellation d'origine contrôlée, or AOC, the Coteau de l'Assaugnes Cru. It signaled a clear commitment to quality, to terroir, to expressing the place. And then in 2009, Morocco recognized its first official Chateau Roselin, purpose-built as a real showpiece of modern Moroccan winemaking.
And how dramatic was this comeback in terms of sheer production volume? Did it recover much?
Oh, definitely. Vineyard acreage expanded hugely. From that low of 13,000 hectares in 1990, it shot up to nearly 50,000 hectares by the early 2000s. Production rebounded significantly, too, from maybe 200,000 to 300,000 hectoliters at its lowest, back up to around 400,000 hectoliters by 2013, which is equivalent to, say, 50 million bottles a year. And the emphasis shifted dramatically. Quality, branding, creating diverse styles. Red wines, especially Syrah, really led the charge, but also those fresh rosés we talked about, and even some sparkling wines like Tremont de l'Atlas.
And Morocco joining the OIV, the International Organization of Vine and Wine, that feels like a pretty strong international endorsement, doesn't it?
It absolutely is. It solidified Morocco's place as a significant wine producer on the global stage, proudly intertwining that ancient heritage with this new era of modern quality and even luxury.
Okay, so let's talk a bit more about the people and the places really driving this renaissance. We mentioned Brahim Znibur earlier as a key pioneer.
Yes, the late Brahim's neighbor. He lived from 1920 to 2016. He's genuinely hailed as the godfather of modern Moroccan wine. It's not an exaggeration. He almost single-handedly kept viticulture alive during those tough post-independence years, and then he really spearheaded its rebirth. He founded Les Celliers de Meknès back in 1964, grew it into the country's largest wine company, and he was constantly pushing for higher quality standards, pushing for the creation of those appellations we discussed.
And Chateau Roslin, that was his crowning achievement.
You could say that, yes. Chateau Roslin, the state-of-the-art winery near Meknès, it became the undisputed showpiece. In 2008, it got that special distinction, the first estate officially allowed to use the title Chateau under that new Coteau de l'Atlas Warrier Cru AOC. It perfectly symbolizes that huge shift from just being a bulk supplier to becoming a producer of fine wine.
And Castel, the other big player we mentioned, what was their main contribution to this revival?
Groupe Castel's investment in '94 brought, well, a real Bordeaux pedigree, and importantly, significant volume. It perfectly complemented Znibbur's focus on the premium end. Their easy-drinking Boulogne Gris, for instance, became a signature Moroccan wine in French bistros. It helped rebuild that vital export pipeline. Together, these two giants, Znibbur's Group and Castel, they account for most of Morocco's production today. They provide stability and a certain consistent standard.
Right, the big anchors. But it's not just them, is it? I've heard fascinating stories about smaller boutique wineries, too. Wasn't there one using camels for plowing?
Yes. That would be Le Domaine du Val d'Argon. It's near Essaouira on the coast. Founded in 1994 by French vintner Charles Melia. He really pioneered planting exclusively Rhone varietals, Syrah, Grenache, Viognier, and this unique southern terroir. And yes, charmingly, he employs a dromedary camel named Goliath to plow between the vines. It's partly an ecological choice, but also just a wonderful nod to local heritage. Goliath the camel.
Goliath the camel. That's quite an image. I definitely remember that vineyard visit. What about the famous Tandem Syrah? Where does that fit in?
Right, Tandem. That's from Domaine des Ouled Thaleb, which is actually Morocco's oldest active winery, founded way back in 1927, still going strong. Their acclaimed Tandem, Syrah, it's also marketed as Sirocco in the U.S., is a joint venture. It was created with the late legendary Rhone Valley winemaker Alain Gréau. He was apparently so impressed by the potential of Moroccan Syrah that he partnered with Ouled Thaleb to create this really distinctive, peppery, elegant wine. It's fantastic.
Okay, so for someone listening, maybe thinking about exploring Moroccan wines, what kinds of grapes and which regions should they really be looking out for?
Well, Morocco's vineyards are overwhelmingly planted with red grape varieties. We're talking 75–80% of total production. Historically, those hardy Mediterranean grapes like Carignan and Cinsault were the workhorses, for the bulk wine era. But since the 1990s Renaissance, there's been this rapid diversification, lots of planting of noble grapes. You'll find Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, and especially Syrah. Syrah has really become Morocco's star red grape. It produces these richly colored, quite peppery, flavorful wines.
And what about those distinctive pale rosés, the ones often called vin gris?
Yes, the vin gris. That's a really unique Moroccan specialty. It literally means gray wine. It's a very, very pale rosé, made with minimal skin contact from the red grapes, usually Cinsault, Grenache, maybe some Carignan. The result is crisp, delicate, really refreshing, just perfectly suited to Morocco's climate and its cuisine. It's often synonymous with Moroccan rosé, like the famous Gris de Boulogne from Castel. It's a classic example.
And regionally, where's the real heartland of Moroccan wine production?
The Meknès-Fès region, without a doubt. That's the heart of it all. It's often nicknamed the Bordeaux of Morocco. It accounts for about half of the country's total wine output. It benefits from good altitude, hot sunny days but cool nights, which helps the grapes ripen well while keeping acidity. Other key regions to know are the Rabat-Casablanca coastal area, which gets those Atlantic influences. There's also the eastern region near the Algerian border, and then that interesting outlier, Essaouira down south, with its unique coastal terroir and the Val d'Argon winery.
It really does sound like a hidden gem just waiting to be discovered by more wine lovers. So let's bring it back to you, the listener. If you're a traveler or a wine enthusiast, what does this all actually mean for you? How can you experience this emerging scene firsthand?
Well, Morocco's wine tourism really invites you to experience the whole winemaking lifestyle, but in a uniquely Moroccan way. It blends those sort of old-world European traditions with the local culture and hospitality. And as we mentioned, at places like Val d'Argon, you might genuinely see Goliath the camel plowing between the vines. That's definitely a memorable photo op.
Okay, so if someone wants to dive in and explore the wineries, where should they start?
The Meknès region is probably the prime area for actual winery visits. L'Iseli du Meknès, a Brahim Niebuhr's company, offers tours of their pretty impressive state-of-the-art facilities, plus tastings, of course, and Chateau Roslane, with its grand architecture, beautiful manicured gardens, and those premier cru classified wines. It's really a must-see. Has this amazing blend of a French chateau feel, but with Moroccan architectural flair. You can stroll through the vineyards, see the barrel-aging cellars. It's quite the experience.
And the food pairing potential. Moroccan cuisine is legendary. I imagine the wines and food work beautifully together.
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the great joys of Morocco's wine tourism, how seamlessly it dovetails with the country's incredible food culture. The wineries really incorporate traditional Moroccan hospitality into the experience. Think, being greeted with refreshing mint tea, having local olives and fresh breads served during your tasting, maybe even enjoying full traditional meals right there on site.
Like that unique lunch at Val d'Argonne you mentioned, I hear that's a real highlight for visitors.
Oh, it really is. At Le Domaine du Val d'Argonne, near Essaouira, guests can indulge in this fabulous, freshly cooked lunch served right by the pool. It's often served family-style under a lovely vine-covered pergola. You can expect this amazing parade of colorful Moroccan salads, succulent grilled meats like spiced lamb, and of course plenty of their chilled rosé and vin gris. Travelers consistently rave about it. It's about savoring those authentic Moroccan flavors right there in the terroir that produce the wine you're drinking. It's special.
That sounds incredible. But what about if you're staying mainly in the big cities like Marrakech or Casablanca? Are Moroccan wines readily available there?
Absolutely, yes. Morocco's hospitality industry has fully embraced the local wine trend. Upscale hotels and those beautiful traditional riads. Take Marrakech's legendary La Mamounia Hotel, for example. They feature Moroccan wines prominently on their menus, and they offer curated tasting experiences. La Mamounia even has its own private label, Icon Wines, produced just for them in partnership with another winery, Domaine de la Ferme Rouge. You can arrange a tasting there, maybe 5 of Morocco's finest wines, expertly paired with gourmet canapés, all guided by their head sommelier.
Now, that sounds like a perfect blend of luxury and local discovery. Very appealing.
Exactly. And many high-end restaurants in the cosmopolitan centers, Casablanca, Marrakech, Rabat, have really extensive wine lists now featuring the best Moroccan vintages. So you can easily pair a rich, slow-cooked tagine of beef cheeks with, say, a velvety Merlot blend from Meknès, or maybe a delicate seafood pastilla with a fragrant white wine like the Val d'Argan Blanc. There are even some emerging dedicated wine bars popping up. I heard about a place called the Secret Wine Gallery in Casablanca offering tasting flights.
It's still interesting, though, how relatively discreet it all feels, considering Morocco is a Muslim-majority country. It really underlines that unique balance we talked about earlier.
It does, and honestly, that's part of the unique charm, I think. You're not going to find, big, rowdy wine festivals at these wineries. That's not the vibe. Instead, the experiences tend to be more bespoke, quite intimate, educational. They're really focused on the land, the craft, the pure gastronomic enjoyment. It's this lovely blend of French savoir-faire, that know-how, combined with a real sense of Moroccan pride.
So it's clear that for the wine lover, Morocco offers this incredibly rich tapestry of experiences. From ancient Roman ruins near vineyards to sleek modern cellars, from sun-drenched coastal estates to elegant city dining.
It really makes you think. Considering Morocco's incredible wine journey, this whole narrative of resilience, decline, and reinvention, how many other fascinating cultural stories like this exist, maybe hidden in plain sight, just waiting for the curious traveler to rediscover them?
That's a great point. Imagine it. Sipping a crisp Moroccan rosé in a sun-soaked vineyard, maybe overlooking some ancient Roman ruins near Volubilis. Or enjoying a private tasting of some rare Moroccan vintages in the cool, ornate courtyard of a riad in Marrakech. Morocco produces roughly 40 million bottles of wine each year now. Only about 5–10% of that gets exported, mostly to France and Europe. The vast majority is actually enjoyed right there domestically. It's become this quiet staple for many locals and a really luxurious indulgence for visitors discovering it. From the spice of ancient civilizations and the warmth of the Moroccan earth to the bright, peppery promise of this new chapter still being written in its vineyards. Morocco truly invites you to discover this hidden gem, taste its remarkable history, and explore its vibrant future.